So before I truly begin with this video, I want to get these two figures out of the way. Here we have Big Freddy, which of course is pretty freaking awesome, if I do say so myself. He can open his mouth, and yeah, I do wish they would fix the inaccuracies like the upper teeth, but you know, this is like the last merch we're getting from Funko, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much. And yeah, there's not much to say. His head, as you can see, kind of did fall off because partly because they're not very that durable, since it literally just fell from my desk. Partly also because I'm honestly kind of destructive. But anyways, of course we have Bonnie. Again, not much to say. I really do hate how they reused Freddy's jaw. The fact that it's actually off is actually really great because you can see it's the same one. Like, stuff like that really does gets me mad. But anyways, yeah, and he does have his guitar. But anyways, now that it's out of the way, we can finally move into like the original 6-inch figures. Here we have Freddy. Again, not much to say other than the fact that he's a pretty good figure, other than like the upper teeth and stuff like that. But you know, that has been said a million times before, so what can I say that hasn't been said before? But anyways, I really do prefer this one over the 2020 release, mainly because of the fact that on the 2020 releases of Freddy, for some reason his eyes are always looking different directions. It's not really the case for like the 2016 release, and also just overall like the color better. I think it's more accurate. And then here we have an original 2016 Bonnie once again. This one's like a lot more dirty, which sometimes it can be a little bit overpowering, but you know, it's fine. It's still doable. I'm also someone who thinks that Bonnie is actually purple. So for that reason, I think I like the 2020 version better, just because of the fact that, you know, he's purple, kinda. But yeah, this is also not a bad figure, though. Basically the exact same as Freddy, just a different head. But yeah, here we have Chica. Again, not much to say. I wish her eyes were purple, but it's not really the end of the world. And then this guy already fell apart actually. But here we have Foxy once again. This is the 2016 release, so instead of being red, it's actually orange, which I don't really mind too much. And yeah, his legs are really flimsy, but other than that, he's a great figure. Definitely one of my favorites from like series 1. And this one already fell apart as well, but it's essentially the same as Bonnie and Freddy. Yeah, not much to say. Freddy but yellow. Here we have the Build-A-Figure of Springtrap. Again, not much to say. I think I like the 2020 version better. Something about this Springtrap just doesn't really sit right to me. But yeah, really cool figure-ish. Not the best, but also not the worst. And then here we have Chica. Now this is like one of like my newest figures in my collection currently, and I so recommend it if you have the money. Yeah, I'm putting this one before all the other nightmares because she was actually released first. So yeah, really cool action figure. I don't really have any complaints, other than they should have maybe done the translucent thing on her body a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. You have Nightmare Freddy, which as you can see, the guy I got these from didn't have his other thigh, so he's kind of stuck like this just for now. The only downside is that he's really flimsy. But yeah, Nightmare Freddy. Not really much to say about the nightmares because they're literally so perfect. Here we have Nightmare Bonnie, which actually was one of the first Funko FNaF figures I've ever gotten, so for that reason he's like very nostalgic to me, I guess you could say. But yeah, I really like this figure. Again, not much to say. Maybe they should have done the eye silver. Here we have Chica. Honestly, a downgrade from Jago Chica. I think I prefer Jago Chica over her. Especially hate the fact that the cupcake is attached to her. I really wish they would have, not come attached to Chica, but at least it's there. Here we have Foxy, again, not much to say. Literally perfect. He has this endo foot, nightmare endoskeleton foot, and yeah, it's just really cool. I sound like such a nerd. Okay, here we have Fountain Foxy. Again, not much to say other than this should have been an exclusive. Like, this lot could have had been for Nightmare Fredbear, but sadly it's not. I still like this figure, don't get me wrong, but it should have been exclusive. It shouldn't have taken a slot from another potential Nightmare character. But yeah, again, hit them all. We get 9 million, which it's alright. He falls apart really easily. He can't stand, so not the best figure if I'm being honest, but still kind of cool. And yeah, I don't really have much to say other than the fact that it's sad that we got him and not like a regular puppet, because that's the only puppet figure we've ever gotten. But anyways, here we have Circus Baby. Again, not much to say. I think her hair should have been orange, but anyone could probably fix that. Here we have Ballora, which once again, this is like an original. I don't even remember when these were released, 2018, so no stand. I do have it, but I'm just too lazy to take it out. And yeah, she does struggle to stand up without it, which is honestly really weird because on the re-release of Ballora, the stand is just glued in. So yeah, I don't know. Then here we have Fontaine Freddy, which used to be one of the rarest figures ever, but not really anymore. I'm assuming because a lot of people are selling their figures to get the new Jazzware figures, but I don't know. And Bon, of course, he's really good, and also like one of the best Funko figures by far, simply because of the fact that he's like spot on. Here we have Fontaine Foxy. An issue that almost every Fontaine Foxy has is the fact that his eyes are looking different directions all the time. And I don't know, definitely a little bit weaker in the sister location line, but it's still an awesome figure. Yeah, her eyes are not too bad on this figure, so yeah. And then of course, build them all. You get Ennard, which I do have his leg, but as you can see, the joint is literally non-existent to attach to the leg, so he's just kind of sitting like this for now. And honestly, I mean, it's alright. Of course, missing eyebrows, no stripes on hat, but it's honestly too skinny. Like, for this to be an animatronic that's supposed to be like all the 5 sister location animatronic, he's like really small. Because I mean, yeah, he is like very slender in the games, don't get me wrong, but they could have made him a little bit thicker. But it's still pretty alright. And then here we have Lolvit, which I know I said no customs, but I'm never gonna get a Lolvit action figure just because of how expensive it is, so I might as well just put it here. I made this custom just out of boredom, and I haven't really touched it since. The paint job's terrible, I know. I'll get around it eventually. And yeah, after that we have the Pizzeria Simulator, so we have Rockstar Freddy. He doesn't really look like Rockstar Freddy though. He just doesn't have like that essence to him, if that makes sense. After the Pizzeria Simulator, I've always felt like that's when like the artists in Funko began to like really get burnt out or whatever, and just began losing their their passion. Because I don't know, I don't think there's like as much passion in these figures. And then his thing fell off. Yeah, that's kind of sad. But yeah, here we have El Chip again. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like this figure, but I would have much preferred Rockstar Bonnie, Rockstar Chica. Oh well, no. You know who I hate? These two. These two characters actually suck. I like don't really like them that much. The only reason why I even got Pig Patch in Orville was literally just to build Scrap Baby, which honestly, it's like so worth it because just look at her. Just look at her. I mean, yeah, they could have done a better job with the painting, but the details are still there. And yeah, this honestly the only reason I see people getting the Pizzeria Simulator in the first place because the character selection is not really good. But anyways, here you have Lefty, and then of course he's not actually left-handed, which sucks. But you know, he looks a little bit better in Rockstar Freddy, I would say, but still could have done much better. But anyways, I kind of wanna. I really don't like the security breach wave, so I'm kind of fly through them because I don't really like them that much. Here we have Moon. I do like this figure, but you know, security breach. I don't really like that game. You have Glamrock Freddy, one of the most hideous figures I have. Roxy, again, hideous. Banny, her arm is somewhere around. Yeah, Banny. And I did used to have the entire set, but you know, as you know, I used the other ones for customs. But yeah, here we have the Curse of Dreadbear wave, I guess I could say. Here we have Glitch Trap, Fredbear. No, not Fredbear, Dreadbear, or whatever. Yeah. I think he's supposed to be green. Here we have what's his name? Captain Foxy. This is honestly such a forgettable figure. Don't get me wrong, it's like awesome, but you know, kind of forgettable. And as you can see, he's wearing Ennard's arm because Nightmare Freddy's using his leg. So yeah. Here we have Jacko Bonnie, who should have been released a long time ago, but you know, at least Funko actually got around releasing him. And this is what they look side by side. They look sick. They look sick side by side. However, if you just have Jacko Bonnie, he does look kind of awkward. So yeah, I kind of wish they would have done like a similar thing instead of making, because like they didn't do enough translucent plastic on this one, but on here they did too much. So that's kind of funny. And then of course Grimm Foxy, which you know, Grimm Foxy, they missed a lot of details. I'm pretty sure I customized it a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. Alright, so for the next action figures, I'm also sort of gonna breeze through them since it's like what I like to call the brain rot era of the action figures. Just literally because of the fact that Funko for some reason began spamming special delivery characters. I mean, some of them are kind of cool, don't get me wrong, like this Rossfair figure, but you know, there's so many other characters to make and we got that. So here we have what's his name, VR Freddy or something like that. Like that game doesn't even exist, like, you know what I mean? And it would have been cool to just get a normal regular toy Freddy. I'm likely gonna use all of these into, you know, customs. Here we have I don't even know, System Error. Okay, it's literally right there, and it took me that long to remember his name, but yeah. Yeah, System Error Bonnie, he's missing his ear because I used that one to make a Shadow Bonnie custom. Here we have Live Wire Freddy. His head is backwards for some reason. And yeah, this is what I'm gonna be using for the Toy Freddy custom. And here we have what's her name? High Score Chica. Again, it's on the chest, but I don't remember their names for some reason. Yeah, she does have two right arms. I don't know why. I bought this one used, but you know, it's not the end of the world. And then I think this one's the only one that remains. If you're wondering what the white stuff is, hey yo, it's just clay. Okay, calm down. But I don't like this figure that much, anyways. But you know, yeah, it's just chocolate Bonnie. Not really much to say. And yeah, that's all the figures. Here's one last look at them, and Yeah. I have the essentials. Definitely not all of them, but I have the essentials for the most part.